And if Justice Thomas really wants to deal with bullying in America or this problem of people supposedly unwilling to accept outcomes that they don't like, I've got some advice for Justice Thomas. Start in your own home. Have a conversation with Ginni Thomas. She refused to accept the legitimacy of the 2020 presidential election. Why? Because she didn't like the outcome. And so instead, she tried to steal the election, overthrow the United States government, and install a tyrant. That's bullying. That's being unwilling to accept an outcome because you don't like the results, because the former twice impeached so-called president of the United States of America lost legitimately to Joe Biden. How did she respond? Instead, she said the Bidens should face a military tribunal in Guantanamo Bay on trumped-up charges of sedition. You've got to be kidding me. And lastly, let me ask this question of Brother Thomas. Why are you such a hater? Hate on civil rights, hate on women's rights, hate on reproductive rights, hate on voting rights, hate on marital rights, hate on equal protection under the law, hate on liberty and justice for all, hate on free and fair elections. Why are you such a hater? And you think you can get away with it, escape public scrutiny, because you think that shamelessness is your superpower?
Mr. Chairman, a point of order.
Here's a news flash
Mr.
straight
Chairman,
from the House Judiciary Committee.
Point of order.
Truth pressed to the ground will rise again, and truth will be your kryptonite.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
I'm glad one elected Democrat had the fucking balls to fucking call his ass out.
Yeah, you goddamn
in the middle
right.
of the Judiciary Committee.
Look, little known fact about Representative Hakeem Jeffries. He's the one who's been groomed by Nancy Pelosi to take her spot. That's
good.
That's the talk.
Sooner rather than later, please.
I want this. This is the type of Democrat you want. A guy who is not afraid to get out there and you don't have to play mealy mouth, all that mealy mouth bullshit. Go for the throat, man. Like, start in your own home. Your wife's a piece of shit, basically, which I appreciated. And look, I like it. I like that he called him a hater, but he didn't he used it sort of as a colloquialism, right? Like, you being a hater, but then pointed out like what that really means, like legislatively, right? Yeah. Which I appreciated. I thought it was great.
Well, again, I just appreciate, because again, Clarence Thomas with the fucking gall to like criticize people for getting upset with the SCOTUS for, you know, like Hakeem Jeffrey said, like your own wife like is upset at outcomes that she doesn't like, and you're gonna fucking criticize people.
Yeah, how
especially
dare you?
when again, like it's, as we'll talk about later in the show, it is patently obvious that the Supreme Court is just a judicial activism center for Republican politics at this point. Like, that's all it is.
Yep,
that's all it is. As people say, you know, and again, covered later, originalism, like this myth of originalism, is just that. It's a myth. Like it doesn't exist. And some of the rulings that, you know, that we're going to talk about on the show, lend credence to that.
Fucking sure. Insane. Fucking insane. Yeah. I feel like, to quote Marco Rubio, we need to shut down the SCOTUS, find out what the hell is going on. What is going on over there? They're just like, what is the worst response we can have to any of these cases? Yeah, let's just do all of those.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. We have, I believe, 3 different SCOTUS rulings, 3 or 4 that we'll talk about specifically tonight that are objectively horrible. Objectively horrible. But again, busy week, very busy week. Just in the last 2 days, it's been crazy. But today we got some more Jan 6 hearings. We had 2 hearings since our last episode, and the first of those 2 was okay. It was fine. The second one, they came guns blazing again, man.
The first one pissed me off for a variety of reasons. Because in the first one, they talked about, they basically talked to folks in Arizona and Georgia in the government there, as to the administration's efforts to basically declare the elections fraudulent in Arizona and Georgia and send a different slate of electors.
Yes.
And they basically had representatives from those states that were involved in the election process talking about definitively proving that no, they were not fraudulent. And so they had like the Speaker of the Arizona House, Rusty Bowers, who they tried to get to call a special session, and he's like,
Right.
Fuck that. Gets emotional, like talks about how MAGA people were like outside his house while his terminally ill daughter was on her fucking deathbed and shit like that, which is like
calling him a pedophile, driving trucks around with loud bullhorns, calling this guy a pedophile and all this crazy shit.
Now that being said, he then came out that he said right before that if Trump ran against Biden in 2024, that he would still fucking vote for Trump.
I'm like, dude,
because I guess having no self-respect is
zero.
Core tenet of the Republican Party, as we see from Ted Cruz.
Like, I watched that live, and I was like, Jesus, dude, this is one of your guys, and you're treating this guy like that. That's horrendous. Yeah. And then he turns around, like, that article came out, like, right after, it's like, I mean, if Donald Trump ran, I'd vote for him. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? This guy he tried to dismantle democracy in front of you. He tried to
by your own admission.
Right, by your own admission, he tried to use you as a weapon to destroy the country fundamentally and turn it into a dictatorship or an authoritarian state. And this guy's just like, yeah, I know, that's horrible. And like, I almost got killed, and I had threats against me and everything else. But if I could do it again, it only sucked because it didn't work. It's basically his argument.
Don Bacon, who's a Republican representative in the House, came out today or the other day as well and said, I've been watching the hearings, and based on that, I will not support Donald Trump in the Republican primary. To which people didn't pay attention, like the words Republican primary probably doing the vast majority of the heavy lifting.
Oh, 100%.
Because I'm sure if Trump won the nomination that Don Bacon would be out stumping for that man. No problem.
That's why you need follow-up questions. Follow-up questions are more important than the initial questions, right? Because anybody can fucking snake their way through and just be like, nah, I wouldn't support him in the primary. Okay, cool. And if he won the primary, well, I mean, I'm not willing to put a Democrat there. I mean, I'd rather have a fucking guy who doesn't believe in the core tenets of our entire country. That's what I would.
But again, that's where they're at, though. That's where they're at.
They quite literally
like that's the party's like, well, I know, like this is like the worst possible person walking planet Earth, but better than Joe Biden or whoever the Democrats will nominate.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to not put a Republican? Like, dude, just vote for someone else. Like, or if you feel like, oh shit, I don't want to vote for Joe Biden because like I'm a staunch conservative and this guy is vehemently against all the policies I believe in, which is perfectly fine, right? Like, I completely understand that perspective. Then just don't vote. Like, or vote for write-in somebody, something like that. But like, don't vote in a guy who you know is a villain.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a difference of like us voting for Joe Biden because he won the primary. And it's like, well, I only agree with this guy like 85% of the time. But like, there's some things I'd really wish that I did agree with him on, but I don't. That's different. Yeah. But if I knew Joe Biden tried to like dismantle democracy, I wouldn't be like, just fucking let it go. Like, I just wouldn't let it go. Like, that's, I don't know, man.
Because what do you think? Because what do you think he's going to do again? Like if Donald Trump were to win the presidency, I guarantee you that in 2028 he would try to fight legally against whichever amendment it is that says you can't serve more than 2 terms, and he would argue like, oh, like it doesn't say consecutive terms, or like arguing on that point, like, oh, they only mean consecutive terms, they don't mean 2 terms,
Or he would just be like, he would do that, which is ludicrous, so that's probably where he would go, right? Because he always picks the most insane perspective. Or he would just be like, we shouldn't even have elections, like, my kid should be next, or some fucking madness. And it'd be like, well, my kid's really popular, so why don't you just put her fucking ass in there? And they'd be like, well, that makes sense. Do we even need a primary? Like, we don't need one. Everybody loves Ivanka, so why don't we just bring her up and then just like no debates, right? Like, that would be the shit he would do, right? So if you allow this guy to get in again, even if he makes it 4 years, which I'm not convinced he fucking would, right? Like, this guy is in, and I don't mean like someone hurting him. I mean like this guy is in garbage health, right? even if he didn't make it 4 years, I have a feeling like he would just be like, he would just dismantle the government, period. Like he wouldn't.
Well, again,
he
like
wouldn't
how
hesitate
hard
on getting rid of, like, getting us out of the UN. He wouldn't hesitate getting us out of NATO. He just wouldn't hesitate. Like before, it was like, well, let me try to like be slick about it. He wouldn't be slick about it. He'd be like, fuck it. Like we already know the shit he tried to do, and he was thwarted by incompetence. At this point, everybody who would be with him now already knows the type of piece of shit he is, so they would already be all in for his agenda day one, right?
Well,
like you had
again,
reasonable Republicans who were with him in 2020. They were just like, oh shit, turns out Trump is fucking crazy. Not the people who support him in 2024. They know he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They be
and we saw him try to install sycophants in position of power, like towards the end with the whole DOJ situation. Like he would just do that from Jump Street this time, and he would have a Republican Senate. Probably, like if he won the election, I would imagine the Republicans would definitely be in control of the Senate at that point.
Probably,
so you'd have people just kind of waving through confirmations, and it would be fucking awful. So like, again, like that's why. And first of all, like people are like, oh, these courageous guys. Like, I'm sorry. I appreciate that you didn't allow democracy to collapse on your watch, but I'm not going to pat you on the back and throw you flowers for doing your job. Like you were elected to do this job. You don't get like our unending praise and and love for doing it correctly. No. Like that's a one-way street. Like I'm sorry, like Rusty Bowers and people in the DOJ and stuff. You're not heroes. You're not. You did the job that you were assigned to do, or were elected to do,
right?
And nothing more.
The people
who is heroes is the folks like Ruby Freeman and her daughter and folks like the poll workers that have been harassed and named and stuff like that. And that story was fucking like listening to that testimony was both heartbreaking and enraging. And Ruby Freeman, like, because they played some of her recorded testimony because she didn't show up to the hearing in person. Like, she put it in perspective really easily. Like, have you ever, where she literally said, have you ever had the president of the United States like go after you, like target you?
Yo, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, like this idea of not just saying like, well, Democrats are bad, right? Or Republicans are bad, or, Democrats and like when Trump was like, Baltimore is like the worst city or whatever. And people in Baltimore were like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Me personally, you, I'm sure. Like, yeah, fuck you, dude. But like, he didn't say Brad, who lives at XYZ street. Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, to bring the weight of the entire opposing party on the shoulders of another person, and a fucking person
of a private citizen, citizen, like not someone in government,
right? They're not
an elected official,
right? It's not like you're like Adam Schiff. Like Adam Schiff is fine; he can handle it, right? Like that's why he went to Washington. He can handle it. He's in the limelight. He's built for that shit. That lady ain't built for that. She's just like, I just count ballots. I'm just some regular person. But her point about being targeted by the president, that story between that woman, her daughter, and then the grandmother, where people were trying to like MAGA idiots were trying to break into her house. She was like in her 90s, break into her house to do a citizen's arrest on her granddaughter. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you people? But you guys want a world where everybody has guns. Okay, man. Like, I feel like you are underestimating the fact that you can't get shot. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I just don't understand. And I'm not advocating for that. I'd rather, like, we not live in that hellscape future. Spoiler alert, it's here now. But, like, what the fuck, man? Like, what the fuck is going on? They're saying now, came out today, that the January, or today or yesterday, the Jan 6 committee members are now getting full security details because of shit like Kinzinger reported on coming out saying that his wife got a handwritten note from some fucking lunatic.
Showed it.
Yeah, no,
he showed it on Twitter. Yeah.
Some fucking lunatic was like, I'm going to kill you and your 5-month-old child. Yo, what the fuck, man? The next time people, and this sorry to make it about this, but the next time you hear somebody say that both parties are the same, yo, please remind them that they are out of their minds. Like, they are simply out of their minds. Yo, what Democrats are sending hand notes to me like, we're going to kill your kids? Like, nobody does that shit. That is a right-wing perspective, dude. Anytime they don't like something, we got to kill this person. What the fuck? Oh, we don't like what they're reporting on. We have to kill this person. Not a politician, a journalist. What they're reporting on. Facts. They don't like that shit. We should kill that person.
I mean, it's what happens though when a political ideology effectively becomes a terror group. Like, that's what the right wing essentially is at this point. It's a cell of terrorism or people that support terrorism, essentially domestic terrorism.
Yeah, and spoiler for later, even sometimes inside their own party. It's quite okay to even threaten people inside your own fucking party when they're not on board for shit, the more extreme shit that you're on board for.
Yeah. 100%. So that should piss me off. Like, because again, like, I know that like when it was happening, like, we were just like, wow, it's really fucked up that he's going after this poll worker. But again, to have it framed in such succinct terms, where it's like, yeah, the most powerful person on the face of the planet is literally focusing the attention and the ire of his legal team, of his cult fan base, and all these people
fanatics
on these private citizens,
right?
And it still affects them to this day. Yeah. Like, they still don't want to go out. Like, they talk about how they don't want to use their names in public because if someone overhears or something, stuff like that. Like, that's insane to me. And that's something that, as long as this, they're probably going to live with for a good chunk of their lives, if not, as long as Trump's like in the political sphere. Yeah. Like, that's going to be a thing. And the thing that pisses me off about it is that a normal person would feel some kind of shame about doing that, but because they have decided to prop up the most narcissistic, sociopathic piece of shit walking on the planet, he doesn't give a shit. It's all a means to an end to him. He doesn't care what. Yeah, he doesn't. He would fucking burn the country down to rule over the ashes. That's always been his fucking MO.
Absolutely. I don't get it, man. I don't get that sort of like moral, like, lack of morality. Like, it's just fucking weird. And look, I get it from Trump because he's a sociopath. Like, that is clear. That's not like, I don't even think that's like a crazy thing to say. I think it's crazier to say that he's not at this point, right? Mm-hmm. Just a person who doesn't think the rules apply to him. That's all the sociopath is, right? They just fucking rules. No, who cares, right? He has no ability to feel empathy for anyone. Like, he doesn't. I mean, I think you can look over the 4 years that he was president when any sort of tragedy came up. He had no empathy for any of it. He never had, when people are like, oh, Obama cried when those kids got killed at Sandy Hook. Yeah, he's a dad. He's a fucking dad. I cried, dude. I wasn't even a dad then. And it's like, they killed 20 little kids. You're supposed to have fucking, like, feel a way about it. You're supposed to. Thinking about it now fucking makes me upset. He never fucking talked about any of that shit. You never got a human moment from him. The only time he ever had like a moral outrage about something that didn't directly involve him was about vaping, because it involved his son who got busted apparently for vaping. And he was like, all right, we got to change the age on this shit. That's it. So it tangentially had to do with him, because probably his wife was like, you better fucking do something about this shit. And he was like, all right, stop yelling at me. Right? You already hate my guts. I'll do something. But I mean, I
still remember like when they invited the Parkland survivors and the families of the victims to like have that talk with him. Yep. And even at an event that was obviously teed up to make him look presidential and human, like, he couldn't even manage that. Like, he was more toned down than he normally would. Like, he didn't go as far as to like argue with the fucking parents of the shooting victims, which is, frankly constrained for him. But he seemed like a fucking robot that was incapable of dealing with human emotion. And again, it's tragic, and we've learned a whole bunch of shit about the Uvalde shooting in the past week or so, which is insane. And it's obviously a hugely tragic thing for those folks and for the folks in Buffalo to have gone through. But Jesus Christ, am I glad that Joe Biden was the president during that time and to interact and empathize with those folks. Because I can't imagine that already terrible tragedy being compounded by having this guy who's, like I said, a fucking emotionless piece of shit that's there to show you that the country cares.
So, okay. Like, if you remember the soldier, remember the I believe it was a black soldier who was killed in Niger, right? Yes. Early on in Trump's presidency. Do you remember that fucking report from, I think it's his wife, where he was arguing with his wife on the phone about her husband's death? He has no fucking empathy, dude. None. Where he's supposed to be like, look, we sent your husband into this fucking zone. He got killed. It's fucking horrible. This, whatever this secret fucking mission was or some shit, right? Because it was obviously some shit that was like clearly clandestine, right? Like you never really got a lot of details out of that, right? Which is understandable. I'm not mad about that. Like I get it. We're not, as citizens, we're not going to know everything. I'm not going to pretend like we are supposed to. I'm not mad about that. But that guy's wife was like, yeah, he was kind of like arguing with me about like what happened with my husband. And it's like, you're supposed to be the fucking president in that moment. Yeah. You're supposed to be like, listen, I can't talk about it. Obviously, it's top secret shit. Your husband was a fucking hero, whatever. But this asshole's still arguing with her. Never forget that this asshole, when it came to American citizens, and Puerto Ricans are American citizens, this is the motherfucker who went down there and was like throwing paper towels at them like they were basketballs. Right? He possesses no level of morality. No level. And now you could say, well, okay, maybe those aren't his constituents, which not a fucking excuse, by the way. But like, okay.
Also not true.
Right. No,
not true.
No, but what I'm saying is, if you said, well, they don't, they're not in love with Donald Trump. Okay, fine, whatever. How about this? It doesn't fucking matter, right? But Obama fucking went to New Jersey when what's his face?
Chris Christie.
When Chris Christie was governor of New Jersey, and he stood right next to that motherfucker during that goddamn hurricane when all those people lost their homes and people died. He stood right next to him. Chris Christie used to be a piece of shit. His entire fucking presidency, he had to deal with that fucking asshole. And he stood next to him because he was an American fucking citizen. And the people that died there were American citizens, whether they voted for Obama or they didn't.
And Chris Christie fucking hugged Obama when he came. And Chris Christie caught shit.
He caught shit. He caught shit over that. Because in that moment, Chris Christie was like, thank you, dude. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Thank you. I probably wouldn't have done the same.
Which again illustrates that the whole party's been fucked for a long time. Like a lot of people are like, oh, when Trump came on board, no. Republican Party's been fucked for a long time. It's not like Donald Trump, nominated Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas,
right,
and John Roberts to be on the Supreme Court.
Right. No, those shitbags were there way before he got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but look, to give credit where credit is due, like. At least Bush, he put those assholes there and he's a garbage president, but at least he had human empathy, dude. He did. Mm-hmm. Not for people in fucking Iraq, not for people in the Mideast at all. But when shit went off here, he at least showed some level of fucking humanity, right? He could fake it or whatever the fuck. I don't think he was really faking it. But at least he could do that. Trump is completely incapable of it on all levels, foreign, domestic, brown, white, southern, northern, blue, red. He doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't. He cares about money. That's all he cares about. That's it. Mm-hmm. So I will never understand voting for someone who has no humanity. I just do not understand it. Oh, Hillary was just like that. Nah, Hillary's just bad on the stump. Like, that's just her thing. She's kind of robotic on the stump. But she's not like that either. Like, you can look at, like, background video of her. She's pretty fucking human. Like, she is. Trump is not. He hasn't been human in a long time. He lives in a tower made of gold, like a fucking super villain. He's not in touch with anybody normal. He's just
again the dude the dude pisses on a toilet made of gold. That's all you need to know.
Right? Like,
that's all you need to know.
This guy's one of us. Like, no, he fucking isn't. He absolutely is not. All right, so let's get more into it. Look, we could talk a little bit about Ginni Thomas. She apparently corresponded with John Eastman, basically saying like, hey, should definitely try to do something about this whole election where our guy lost clearly and definitively. I think we should totally not cheat, right? Like, so yeah, look, Ginni Thomas isn't just some psycho sending emails. Ginni Thomas is the wife of a Supreme Court justice. Ginni Thomas also 100% was highly involved in talking to the biggest proponents of this shit, right? Like, again, she not just sending like before, it was like, oh, Ginni Thomas is crazy. She's sending around crazy like chain emails. Nah, yo, that's not all she's doing. She's talking to John Eastman, right? Like, this is Trump's number one fucking guy for the fake elector shit.
Which again is just, it's to expect us to believe that there exists this like unsullied wall between personal and business between Ginni and Clarence Thomas is insane to me. And I guarantee you that Ginni Thomas was talking to him about this shit and talking about how if stuff made it up to the Supreme Court, like that they would need their help to get some of this shit through.
I just don't fucking get it. I just don't fucking get it. I like, you're right. Like, the idea that there's this wall between this, like, it's nonsense. Yes, at night when Ginni Thomas lays down, her and Clarence Thomas, they never talk about anything. How's your day? It was good. How was your day? Good. Wall. Right? No, dude. She's like, how do we get over this fucking loss? Like, come on, man. Like, let's fucking do this shit. Like, you got power. The fact that Ginni Thomas was talking to John Eastman and Clarence Thomas is the only goddamn Supreme Court justice who was totally fine with not releasing data to the Jan 6 committee tells you everything about their relationship. It tells you everything.
Yep.
Even the fucking other asshole conservatives on the Supreme Court were like, well, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, they should have access to this.
The asshole conservative on the Supreme Court was like, yeah, obviously, like, we should release this to Congress. Like,
yeah, come on.
There's no reason not to.
Oh, Sam Alito, is that who you're?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the worst.
He is the worst, and yet even he was like, yeah, clearly this is the right decision. Yet, when someone's wife is involved, amazingly, not only does he not recuse, but he's the only guy that votes against it. And again, since it wasn't like an actual like hearing, that was, or like an actual like, you know, presentation, he didn't have to give like a dissension on it as to why. So we'll never hear his explanation. Not that he would have like been like, well, you know, my wife might be involved, so I really don't. I mean,
I'm not really trying.
I don't think that would have happened.
I'm not trying to mess up a happy home here, guys. Like,
yeah, but I mean, like,
gross.
And that's why, like, when he sits there and, you know, gets on his high horse and talks his shit, that's why it's so fucking irritating. Because like you're pissing on our face and trying to say it's raining outside. Like, get the hell out of here. Like, we're not stupid. Like, don't, like, even though you think we are, obviously.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Clarence Thomas, guys.
No.
Take it or leave it. Next up, Trump electors in Michigan being served with federal subpoenas. This is brand new today. The feds were like, hey, guess what? We were watching. We're paying attention. Surprise, surprise.
And by watching, they watched the Look Forward show last week when Jay talked about rounding up these guys.
What I tell you, man,
they don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, this is the easiest RICO case of all time, dude. Deal with these motherfuckers just like you deal with the mob. Take it right out of Giuliani's book. Grab the low guys and just roll them up. Dude, these guys they're not in it. They think they're in it. They don't want to be in it. They don't want to be in the real shit. Fuck no.
And again, we'll like it's not to step on a story that we're going to talk about later on, but I mean, it's very clear now that there is no loyalty among thieves. Like, there's literally no reason for you to keep your mouth shut.
No. And you know what's also interesting is, boy, were people who said these Jan 6 hearings going to be worthless. Boy, were they wrong. Right now we have the Jan 6 committee hearings going on. We've got and the committee is still hunting data down, like, in real time.
Well, they postponed, like, they were scheduled to have more hearings next week. They postponed them because they're like, since we started doing these, like, we're getting so much more information
Yeah.
that we want to roll into these presentations.
Yeah, they're
that we weren't
moving
getting before.
They're moving shit to middle of July is the talk.
Yeah.
Right. So you got the Jan 6 committee getting more information. So they're still hunting, which is fucking amazing.
Well, including like I feel like we have to talk about the bit of bomb dropping that happened today.
Oh, the documentary thing?
Yeah.
Let me finish this point and then we'll talk about it. Because it's fucking that is straight out of a cartoon. Like that is amazing, right? So you got the January 6th committee hunting for new information as they're being brought more information, right? So they're like a dog with a scent. Then you've got Fed prosecutors going after the fake electors and throwing out more and more subpoenas, right? So you got the federal government dealing with that. And now you have the states individually going after not only the fake electors, going after other Congress members and stuff like that, going after people in the Trump administration. Like, you came in trying to fuck shit up in Florida and Arizona and stuff like that. Well, we got you dead to rights, motherfucker. Because now they're watching the committee, so they're seeing more of their data being corroborated by other members or by other members of the Trump internal team. So they're getting these people too. You're seeing what is tantamount to a hydra of fucking problems for the Trump team and Trump himself. Because at this point, it's not a matter of if he will be indicted and will people on his team be indicted. It's a matter of when. So it's just, and also a matter of how, right? Will they be indicted on the federal level, on the state level? I don't know. Probably fucking both. And so you're going to see these guys are going to have to ramp up another fake fund to get some money because they're getting ready to draw your ass into court case after court case after court case after court case. And you know what? They should. So yes, let's talk about the documentary because this is a glorious fucking story.
It's so fucking funny. So one of the things that the committee is going to be getting eventually is a raw footage of a documentary that was being filmed during the election and in the aftermath of the election, where this documentarian was following around Trump and his family going through the last stage of his presidency, which White House officials were not aware that was happening.
How?
Well, again, when you hire like the most incompetent people to do work for you, like, I'm not surprised that they were able to slide it by him. No problem.
Like, I find it hilarious. Like, there's just a guy standing in the back, like, what is that guy doing?
The White House videographer. Like, I didn't know we added that position to the.
They were doing. These guys were doing like mad crimes right in front of a video camera.
and apparently, like the Trump. Like the Trump family thought that they would have like, control or sign off on any of this stuff, and they're just like, and the documentarian, like the guy that did all the footage, was like, no, like they never said that. Like they have no control over any of this, and I've hired a lawyer, and I will be cooperating with.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need that. I don't need all that bullshit. Nah, you got it. Here's all the footage, and it's raw footage, right? That's important because it's not. It's not edited. Oh, we edited out this part where Ivanka says this or nope. It's everything. And these dopes were talking wild shit in front of them. They were because they thought they had the shit in the bag. They thought they had it in the bag. They thought they had one. They thought they had it in the bag, like election wise. They thought they had it in the bag. Then they lost. And then they definitely thought they had it in the bag with all this other bullshit because they said that documentary footage, they have footage from January 6th that no one has seen before.
Yeah.
Which means they likely have footage in the fucking White House with these guys while it's happening.
Well, and
if there is anything on there.
Well, and imagine if they have footage of him, like, admitting that he lost. Like, admitting that this is bullshit in some way, shape, or form. Like, he's like, yeah, I know I lost, but we have to do something. This or the other thing.
Yo, that's it. Plaster that footage everywhere. Like, if that happens, if he said something that stupid out loud, and look, if he says it, it's devastating, right? It's fucking devastating. If he said it, it's devastating. If any of the big people around him said it, it's devastating, dude. Like if you got like Pence or some shit, it's like, yeah, we lost. Like I don't know what all this.
No, I don't even think Pence qualifies at this point. I think it would be like if Mark Meadows said something, or like if Giuliani like admitted it, that kind of stuff.
If Giuliani admitted it, they're in a world of trouble. Like they're in a world of trouble. Because then he's got to come out and be like, I was high on Diet Pepsi. Like I was drunk. But I think the fact that they were freaking out as much as they were when that news broke, they're in a world of trouble. Because I think they are also aware of like, ooh, we might have said some fucking crazy shit.
I've said it before, and I will say it again. We are damn lucky that we have the stupidest criminals that were doing the crime stuff at the highest levels of government. Yeah,
we really are. We really are. Because, I mean, many people have said, like, if Nixon had, like, a Fox News around during his time, he would have beaten.
He would have been.
Yeah, he would have beaten Watergate. It would have been no problem. But not these psychos. Like, they're too stupid. They're too stupid. But it's inevitable, right? Because the party has just become a party of, like, post-truth, stupid shit that they believe. Like, I mean, this is the same party that has not a significant amount, but enough people that it makes the news who think that JFK Jr. or JFK, I'm not quite sure on this, is going to be Trump's running mate in 2024. Like, JFK would be like 108 years old, so he's probably not. If he were alive, right? Of course, I don't actually believe that JFK is alive because I saw him get shot in the fucking head 4,000 times on video. And then JFK Jr., like, some people also believe that maybe he's alive. He didn't die in a plane crash. And that he's coming back to be Trump's VP. Why he would switch parties is a thing I've never understood. Like, why he would suddenly become a Republican.
Yeah, like they just forgot that John Kennedy was a staunch Democrat.
Right, like you guys,
one of the most Democrat of Democrats.
Right, like you guys hated them. Yeah. Like, why would you pick them? Like, oh, but Camelot. Like, it's okay. Weird. It's very weird, but like people in their party believe that. Like, it's
I just wonder like what level of smoking gun evidence would have to come out for even like the sycophants in the like Trump sycophants in the media to bail on him. Because at some point, like they have to preserve the Republican Party. If there's enough damning information that comes out, well, that just makes it untenable to keep supporting him.
So what? One of the people on Fox News, Blondie McBlonde, what's her name? Hold on, Martha McCallum. She's one of the. I could show you a picture of a blonde woman. You wouldn't know because they all look the same, right? Like just imagine a slightly older looking blonde woman on Fox News, right? She came out and she was like, there is a stunning was the word she used, a stunning lack of evidence for Trump's fraud claims, and she learned that after watching the Jan 6 hearing.
Oh, I thought she was going to say like stunning lack of evidence in the hearings. I'm just like, what are you talking about?
No, a stunning lack of evidence for Trump's fraud claims. But she didn't learn that until watching the Jan 6 hearings, which is weird because she works in the fucking news. Like, you work in the news. Like, it's shocking to you. It's shocking to you? This is your job. This is your job. That would be like me going upstairs or like coming on this show and being like, there's a shocking amount of cookies in my cabinet upstairs, Brad. Like, yeah, I know, Jay, you bought them. Like, I did, but but I'm shocked by this news.
I didn't believe that they existed.
Who could have known? Like, your job is the news, political news. Like, it's not like you only report on hurricanes in Tibet. You're here. You're in New York. What the fuck?
But I'm not even talking about like the people that could be swayed on the news, on like the news side in Fox. Like, I'm just talking about like your, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity types. At one point, they shift hard for DeSantis, who is going to be like the next guy probably.
There would have to be footage of Trump disparaging them specifically. That's what it would have to be. Like, Trump would have to be on tape, like videotape, like, Tucker Carlson, that bow tie wearing dickbag, fuck him. Like, that guy's a pussy. Like, then Tucker would be like, oh, all right, well, I'm not going to take that. I mean, I am a pussy. Like, I'm not going to take that. Right? Like, it would have to be personally disparaging to him
I don't
before
even know if that would be enough, honestly.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't know. Like, I feel like that's the only thing. Like, he would have to shit on him and his opinions for him to be like, enough is enough, right? Like, but I think anything short of that.
Listen, I'm pretty sure you'd see him like arguing against himself. Like now, many people have said that Tucker Carlson is not a pussy, but let's look at the facts. Tucker Carlson has never won a fight in his entire life. Tucker Carlson wears a shitty bow tie all the time.
Oh my God. Him arguing against himself to genuflect for Trump. It's actually, you're right. It's not that crazy, to be honest. It really isn't. But yeah, man, the fake electors, getting back to that story, the fake electors, they're in a world of trouble. Good. Just roll up on everybody else, man.
Maybe you should have been a fucking idiot. Like again, for them to believe that we're only going to do this if we can get the case in front of court. Like if we win in court, that's the only trust me, we're not going to do anything with this unless we win in court. And they're like, okay, Trump administration, we believe you guys. This is A-okay with me.
I don't know how you could possibly believe that when everyone in the Trump administration has been caught lying about quite literally everything for 4 years.
Because they don't realize they're lying.
Hey, I mean, apparently conservatives just figured out Homelander on The Boys is a Trump analog. They didn't realize this asshole with blonde hair who stands on a building at night and jerks off onto the people below yelling, "I can do whatever the fuck I want," wasn't a Trump analog. They were shocked to know this. But
it's like the guy on Twitter that was arguing about Star Wars being political and was like, yeah, you realize that the Galactic War, the rebellion's an analog for the Vietnam War, and he's like, well, that wouldn't make any sense unless America was the empire.
Think about it. Hold on a second.
You're right there.
You're almost there, dude. You're almost there. No. But I like Darth Vader. Well, yeah, that's a weird outcome of that story, but I mean, he looks cool, but yeah, he's the super space Nazi, right? He's not the guy you're supposed to like.
But again, that just goes to show you though that truly these people have a warped worldview of this country.
Well, of reality.
Yes,
of reality. Yeah. They I mean, remember, these are the same people who thought Stephen Colbert was being serious. Right, on the Colbert Report. They thought that. They were like, oh, he's joking, but no, he really is conservative. They were like, no. Him and Jon Stewart are friends. Guys, they write this shit together to laugh at you. Hello? They didn't understand it. They don't get subtext. They don't get fucking text, for God's sake.
That's true.
Because they're dumb. All right, Brad. Let's talk about this next story. And again, I am dying to propose something to you because I need you to think about this. You don't have to answer this week, but I would like.
Oh, I hope to answer this week.
No, you don't have to answer this week. I hope that you have somewhat of an answer by next week. I'm gonna blow your fucking brain. I'm gonna blow it right out of your head. So the next story is about the Republicans who asked for pardons. Right? We learned that Scott Perry was one of the guys. We learned that 2 weeks ago, and we had talked about let's release those names. Come on, and they did exactly what we assumed they did. They fucking teed it up, got you interested. What's going to happen at the season finale? And they released the names. Right? Turns out Representatives Mo Brooks, Matt Gaetz, Andy Biggs, Louis Gohmert, Scott Perry, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Were all they were the folks the 6 folks who asked for presidential pardons for January 6th, yes. Right? Presidential pardons in the days immediately following January 6th. Here is my question to you, Brad.
Okay.
Well, 2-part question. You should know the first part. This is rhetorical for the audience. What day was Marjorie Taylor Greene sworn into Congress?
That would be January the 4th, I do believe.
January 3rd,
mistaken.
Actually.
January 3rd, okay.
January 3rd, 2021.
Yes.
Why is Marjorie Taylor Greene asking for a pardon for the events of January 6th? She wasn't in Congress for more than 3 days. It's pretty fucking odd.
Not really that odd, considering that she was texting Mark Meadows back and forth leading up to this, as we've seen from his messages.
Right, but she wouldn't have been a member of Congress.
Correct.
So what power did she have? She didn't have any power to like vote against it. Like, she didn't have any power to do anything, right? Like, by the way, Mo Brooks asked for 147 Republicans who voted against Trump to also be pardoned. That is irrespective of this, right? Those 147 people didn't go to the president or the president's team and be like, pardon me specifically. That was Mo Brooks saying, hey, like, just in case some shit goes on, like, let's just keep those guys in the clear. Look, that's shitty, not fucking cool, unacceptable. But that's not these people. These people specifically went and said, hey, please pardon me.
And again, I feel like especially like under Trump, like the word pardon has been like kicked around so much that it's almost like diluted its meaning. Yeah. To some extent.
I mean, he gave that shitty director a pardon.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I feel like I need to remind the audience
D'Souza,
that when you receive a pardon from a chief executive, that's not like blocking you from being prosecuted.
No,
that's not. You admitting I did a crime. I'm admitting that I did this crime, and I'd like my sentence, and I'd like any punishment for that crime to be brushed aside.
Yeah, you're not exonerated.
Any potential punishment. Yeah, you're not correct. You're not exonerated. Like it is, as we saw when Joe Arpaio tried to argue with Ari Melber when he went on his show one day.
No.
He's like, you realize that pardon means like you admitted doing the crime, and Joe Arpaio's like, no, but that's not correct. And Ari Melber's like, no, it's definitely correct. Like that's what a pardon fucking means.
I'm a lawyer.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you're a sheriff that makes grown men wear pink clothes because you think, they'll look gay. Like, you're an idiot. Like, I'm a lawyer. Yeah. Like, I know what I'm talking about. So here is that was my rhetorical part, right? January 3rd. Mm-hmm. My question to you is, so there is a theory. This is a conspiracy theory, granted, right? And this is not something I believe necessarily. I think it's curious, and it certainly lends to the oddity of the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing. One of the people, like the pipe bomb, the person who put down the pipe bomb, was wearing the exact same shoes that Marjorie Taylor Greene has been seen wearing. Has a very similar gait or walk as Marjorie Taylor Greene. So some people think that maybe she's the person who did it. I don't know. That seems fucking nuts to me, right? But at the same time, why the fuck are you asking for a pardon when you've been in Congress for not even 3 full days? It's fucking weird, man. And again, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that'll ever come out who did the laying of the pipe bomb. I don't know. Maybe the FBI actually does know who it is, and they're just waiting to fucking drop the hammer on that person. Not saying it's her or not. But it does not help your case that you just started on the job and you're like, hey, if I could just get a pardon for anything that ever happens, like, but you didn't do anything. Yeah, I know. But if you could just write my name down. Like, it's just, it's a bit odd. And that theory is picking up a lot of steam because of this. And people are just like, why the fuck are you there? And the reason why I point that out is because of something that you said before the show, before we started recording. It's a bit weird that she would ask for a pardon and Lauren Boebert wouldn't ask for a pardon, right? Like, they both started at the same time. They're both idiots. They both support the same shit, right? They both support Trump and all this other shit. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is the only one who went as far as to say, I need to be protected for something that I did or potentially did, which is weird to me. It's very fucking weird to me.
So just
to... So I'm just curious as to what the... Again, I'm not saying that she's the fucking pipe bomb person, but what I am saying is, what could be the reason? The legitimate reason that she thinks that she needs a pardon. It's fucking
truly
odd.
The devil's advocate position to take here. Apparently,
I think you have to.
You have to. Yeah, right? This was in the hearing. Matt Gaetz said that they wanted pardons because they were worried that someone else.
We'll get to
yeah,
him.
They were worried that someone else down the road, like if a Democratic administration came in place or something, would go after them if they voted to decertify the election or something. Like that's what they were worried about. Is they were worried about getting going after by some law enforcement agent. I'm not saying that's a great excuse.
It's a pretty bullshit excuse.
That's the excuse that he was floating to Mark Meadows, allegedly.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. Look, let's be specific about Matt Gaetz. He asked for a blanket pardon from the, quote, the time of birth? I believe it was the line he said.
Through January 6th or something,
through like after January 6th. Look, that's just trying to protect him from fucking that young girl. Like, he knows the feds are coming after him. He was trying to protect himself because of that. It's got jack shit to do with January 6th. Jack shit. But I do think the other people on that list is also telling, right? Like Louis Gohmert's kind of an idiot. Like, I don't know that he had anything like specific to do. He's probably just like, Democrats coming after me, right? Like that guy's a dummy, right? But I find it interesting that people like what's his face? What's his name? This is a fucking youngish white guy. That people are really terrified might run for office, run for president.
Josh Hawley.
Josh Hawley. I think it's telling that he didn't ask for one, right? Mm-hmm. I think the people who are really involved, like for real involved, are on this list for a reason. I think the guys who were just like advocating for the shit and probably not super involved in it, that's why they're not asking. I think Mo Brooks 100% is involved. More on him later. I think Gaetz was trying to protect himself for something that had nothing to do with January 6th. Maybe he had some other shit, but I think that's mostly just because like he's like, look, the feds are after me. This is a great way to cover my ass.
Yeah, and Scott Perry was like, we found out today that he was like the matchmaker for John Eastman, or not for John Eastman, for Jeff Clark, and like trying to get him elevated to attorney general and stuff like that. So I could see where he thinks he might be wrongdoing. Look, except for Mo Brooks, like no senator would be dumb enough to fucking get down in the mud with this plan. Like, come on.
It's stupid because if it backfires, you're done. You're done. And guess what? Like, again, we talked about this last week. What the DOJ does when it comes to Trump is one thing. What the DOJ does when it comes to Congress is a completely different animal. Because there's a lot of representatives here that should go to jail. That should go to jail, or at least be removed from Congress and never allowed to run for office again. They shouldn't be allowed to run for fucking dog catcher, let alone the House or Senate. But it's a lot of them. And they're all Republicans. It's not like, oh, well, we got this scheme and we got like 15 Democrats and, 18 Republicans. So it seems relatively even. We could just go after them and it just be what it is. It's all Republicans. Mm-hmm. You going to toss 6, 7, 10 Republicans out of Congress? You should. Will they? That remains to be seen. I don't know. So,
well, no, because Republicans would have to vote on it and they're not going to do that.
Well, no, they're not. But like we talked about last week, what happens if these people actually get criminal indictments?
You think that's going to affect them staying in fucking Congress?
I don't know. Can they stay in Congress if they're found guilty? I don't know. Like, I don't know that. Like, it's never, if it comes up whether Republicans will vote them out, the answer is objectively no. Like,
yeah,
they could admit on tape and it wouldn't stop them because they don't want to lose the numbers. But if they are criminally indicted and they are criminally charged, that's a different story. So, whether or not that keeps them there, I don't know. Like, you reporting, like, what are you Skyping in from prison? like I don't know.
Sure.
Like, it's fine. Hey, Matt, zoom on in. It's cool, dude. Like, this guy's doing 10 years for trying to fuck a kid or for fucking a kid. Not trying. Unfortunately, he succeeded. So, yeah, I don't know. But, the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, it is a bit weird. It's a bit weird. Look, we, in that same avenue, we found out earlier this week, there's so much going on, it's not even on the docket. Loudermilk lied again. right? Louder milk. What a terrible name. As I saw someone said, like fucking screaming dairy. Like he said he didn't do a tour. Then he changed, I did a tour, but like,
he changed the story because it's like, bro, we have you on tape. Like, this is you.
Shit. That's right true. Here. It was me. I forgot. And then he did the tour. And then the footage came out and he was like, oh, people were like, yo, why are those people taking pictures of like empty staircases and like security stations? He was like, nah, they were taking pictures of pictures from kids.
A sconce.
Oh, I had heard that it was like taking pictures of like kids' art or some shit like that. That's around.
Yeah, he's like, there was a gold eagle sconce in that stairwell. I'm like, yeah, sure, that's exactly what they're taking a picture of. Meanwhile,
show me the pictures on those phones then.
Meanwhile, other Congress people, I'm pretty sure Kinzinger like even came out and was like, yeah, like I can't tell you the last time that I gave a fucking tour in person unless it was like a friend or like a close friend or family.
Yeah, people don't do that.
Like, so why the fuck were you giving that tour?
And look, not to judge haircuts or anything, but one of the guys in that fucking Loudermilk party had a straight up Nazi haircut, dude. I was like, I mean, it was like hard shaved on one side with the fucking like whoop type of shit. I'm like, yeah, find that guy in the crowd for January 6th because he's 100% there. Like he's 100% there, right? So yeah, knock that shit off, man. Like,
I will put a bow on the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing. The only thing that makes me cast doubt on your theory.
No, I'm just saying I don't know. I just don't know.
I know, but there's a pretty definitive piece of proof that proves that she definitely is not the person who was possibly the pipe bomber. And that's because in the pipe bomb picture, like that person was not dragging a club behind them. so I'm pretty sure that it probably wasn't her.
Oh,
in that case,
that's offensive, Brad.
Is it?
I mean, it is, but I don't care. Fuck her, dude. She's a treasonous asshole. She's a garbage person. Who cares? Oh, did we hurt Marjorie Taylor Greene's feelings? Oh no. Go invent the wheel again. Who gives a shit? Your giant orbital shelf. So speaking of treasonous,
this shit took one day. This shit took one fucking day.
Look, man, the wokest member in Congress, Woke Brooks, Mo Brooks, as he's otherwise known. Mo Brooks is going all in after being betrayed by Trump and losing his primary. One, he lost his primary. Lul, good for you, buddy. But Mo Brooks says he's willing to testify in public as January 6th committee prepares to reissue him a subpoena. Oh, he's all in now. He's like, Trump pulled his endorsement. This guy lost his primary. You found out that he was asking for pardons. Like, this guy's like, nah, I'll tell you everything. And he's willing to tell him everything as long as his demands are met. Yeah, immunity. That's what he wants, dude.
His demands aren't even immunity. Like his demands are. I'm shocked. His demands are what is it? Like it has to be on camera and in person. He will only be asked questions by the committee members and not by any staffers or like staff lawyers or something.
Fine.
They have to give him like if there's any documentation they're going to present, like they have to present it to him like a week in advance so he can recollect his memory, like all that, like shit like that. But there's not like a fucking immunity deal.
Nah, dude, I would ask for immunity if I was Mo Brooks. I would have, dude. I would have been like, first off, I'm gonna need a intellectual flak jacket before I walk into this, because that's my whole thing.
Like I said, I just love how literally like Mo Brooks' primary, literally day later, I will testify. Like that's fucking incredible.
Oh, I lost? Fuck that's the entire MAGA party. Burn it down. Yeah, so a lot of people may not know this, but the reason why, one of the reasons Mo Brooks lost is because Trump pulled his endorsement from him.
Oh, that's precisely why he lost. Like that's not one of the reasons. That is the reason. Like this dude was a fucking MAGA incumbent until he, basically went on TV and admitted he's like, I was trying to tell the president like you got to stop doing this. Like it's over. It's done. And Trump's like, fuck you. Like I'm gonna fucking endorse your opponent. and tank your ass.
Trump not only said "fuck you," but he said, "quote He's gone woke." Mo Brooks, the wokest member of Congress. Really? Okay.
What is wrong with fucking Trump and Alabama senators? Is my fucking question. Just a staggeringly bad track record in one state.
Yeah, not good.
Like I said, you tap one of them to fucking be your attorney general, and he sucks, and you hated him, and then you fucking lost the seat to a Democrat in Alabama.
Well, didn't he put
a pedophile?
Right?
Yeah, to endorse.
And then you crazily picked the super woke guy from Alabama. Yeah. Good job. Mo Brooks is woke. Okay. So the word woke just means I disagree with you, right? Is that all it means now? Well, again,
it's the latest in the Republican vernacular words they have completely fucking beat the meaning out of by misusing them like over and over and over again.
Woke has gone the way of communism, socialism.
Yeah.
Intelligence.
CRT,
right? Hey, a black person exists. That's CRT. You can't talk about that. Like,
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So Mo Brooks, ready to do some good old fashioned backstabbing. Look, that's what you want in a criminal case, man. The second you get other criminals to stab other criminals in the back, you're cooking with gas then, baby. Like that's what we want. Tell them everything. Come on, Mo. Let's go.
Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.